Today we are reacting to how Poland built a $1 trillion economy by Bloomberg television. Boom! I came across this video a few weeks ago when my wife sent it to me, and after just like 10 seconds, I stopped it. I knew I had to react to this on camera. So I have not seen this film, I have not heard the words here, and I want you guys to have my true, honest, real reaction to it. It's been done by Bloomberg television, so I assume that they will have some good points and they will give us some really interesting information. At the same time, I live in Poland. I'm here. I have insider's info. So I'm going to keep Bloomberg accountable for every single word they're saying. Without further ado, let's begin.
This is a story about going home again. The narrative of Europe in recent years has too often been about lack of growth, but there are exceptions. It turns out that Poland is one of the world's fastest growing economies. And although it's now attracting the best and brightest to come home to build their businesses, tough challenges still lie ahead.
Well, to be honest, I think Brexit and COVID were major players in a lot of the Poles that were living abroad and coming back to Poland, okay? So let's be honest. Warsaw.
Born and raised in Warsaw, Alexandra Pedrzejewska followed a well-trodden path for young, ambitious Poles and went abroad.
I wanted to study abroad, and I started looking around, and my objective was getting the best education that I can get. So I left in 2013 to study at Cambridge. I didn't really make a choice after.
She's a Pole in the UK, and she returned to the motherland. Probably Brexit did it.
Studies about which country I want to live in, it was very much driven by the opportunities, what could I do in different countries. And for me, it was natural to stay in the UK.
Yeah, UK.
But
look how pretty in Warsaw, huh? How sunny.
The well-trodden path is heading in the other direction. Poland is booming. Its economy topped $1 trillion last year. And this year, it will be invited to the G20 summit.
$1 trillion. It's like, how many countries have a $1 trillion economy? How many countries? So only 21 countries. There you go.
And its count of citizens living abroad, a figure that was steadily climbing after it joined the EU in 2004, peaked in 2017 and has been dropping ever since, although Poland's National Statistics Agency adjusted its methodology in 2022. Among those returning is Pedrzejewska.
So in 2017, there were 2.5 million Poles living abroad.
With the backgrounds like I had, I wanted to work on the edge of new technologies. I really
now we have the technology here in Poland.
The best R&D, the best teams that are building effectively the future of what the technology sector is. I don't think that these opportunities were as obvious 10 years ago and as available as they
were
are
not. And I can tell you this because I came to Poland for the first time in 2012. And I remember being extremely surprised by Poland, but I don't know to which degree that surprise was because I did not know that much about Poland and whatever I had built in my mind that Poland was or had or whatever. But my wife does tell me that when she left Poland in 2012, it's absolutely not the same Poland, even remotely close to the Poland that we have today.
Actually, our performance started in 1989.
Andrzej Domanski is Poland's Minister of Finance and Economy.
And 1989, we had GDP of 67 billion US
67
dollars.
billion.
Last year, GDP of Poland reached 1 trillion. There was only one country in that period that had a higher pace of growth, and it was China.
What were the things that drove that performance over that long period of time?
Well, first of all, the reforms of the early 90s, strong institutions that were established here at that.
The 90s were an incredible period for Poland, I've been told, and I think only probably rivaled by 2004 and onwards with the joining of the European Union. But from what I hear, the 90s were such a tumultuous but also like exciting times in Poland. A lot of people made a lot of money and became quite wealthy. It must have been chaotic, but I can assume that it must have also been very, very, very exciting.
Of course, the entrepreneurship spirit of Polish people who helped in this process, and of course, with no doubt, joining European Union in 2004.
Yeah,
and
like I said, yeah, 2004.
Frankly, we are often asked what is the most important sector or most important company of Polish economy, and it's very difficult to say.
That is true. I would say industry.
I perceive it as a strength of Poland because we are really well diversified.
But I think it's industry, right?
Like is well integrated with other European Union economies. We are well integrated with global value chains. At the same time, we are quite important market of 37 million people, so we have strong domestic markets.
That is very important to mention. The way that I see that Poles support their own industries, their national products. I still remember some years ago, do you remember there was this campaign to support the production of apples, right? Jabłko, and everyone was just buying Polish apples, and they were buying drinks made of Polish apples. It was the first time, we were living abroad then, but it was the first time that I had a glimpse at how Poles can really solidify behind a cause, especially if the cause is to support their own.
So there are many engines of Polish GDP growth.
Drivers of Poland's economic growth include a range of services as well as
Manufacturing industry, I wanted to say.
The invasion of Ukraine has led to a sharp uptick in defense spending, projected to account for almost 5% of GDP in 2025, the highest in the EU. Its digital
Poland doesn't trust Russia. Let's face it, that's what it is.
Estimates the current $44 billion sector will grow to $123 billion in 2030, accounting for 9% of GDP.
Yeah.
That's Petruszewska's domain. She co-founded VividQ, a British company developing holographic display technology, in 2017. But on her return to Poland, she started VastPoint, a venture capital firm focused on tech startups in Central and Eastern Europe.
The startup scene is very vibrant, and when I think about this word, I think it really represents what's currently going on. I think that this ambition and this certainty that whatever is being built from here or by Polish teams has this potential of becoming a global solution.
Yeah, I think that this is such a great thing. I feel that Poles are believing in themselves a lot more than probably maybe they have ever believed in themselves. They truly think that they can create not only change, but they can create wealth. They can create a better Poland. And the famous Polish pessimism, I don't know if it's just a new generation. I don't know. Maybe it's the old generation from the war. The generation is slowly dying. And maybe those traumas are slowly being put behind. But there is something that is extremely palpable. When you're living here, that's when you really feel it. This sense of growth and development and belief in themselves as a country.
Yet for all the optimism around Poland, there are some warning signs ahead. Maciej Albanowski is an economist at the Institute for Structural Research in Warsaw.
The main short-term challenge for Poland is to consolidate public finances. Although public debt is still at moderate level of around 60% of GDP and public debt is safe in Poland, we are running large deficits. Last year it was around 7% of GDP. So it is clearly not sustainable over the longer term, and we need to come up with a way to rationalize public spending, probably raise some taxes.
Raise taxes.
Probably we need to face the fact that elevated military spending requires some tax hikes. We don't want to start consolidating our public finances when we are under external pressure, because then it's more painful.
We spend close to 5% of our GDP on defense.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. Think about it.
50 billion euro per year. So of course,
50 billion euro per year on defense.
Deficit. We take some steps.
But at the same time, can you question it? Look what is happening in Ukraine. Look what is happening around the world. Sadly, if you're surrounded by bullies, you sometimes have to fight back, or at least show that you can fight back. I'm telling you, it's such an F time to be alive these days. especially as a young person.
To lower it gradually. We believe that we are not in the position to cut spendings on defense.
Another challenge lies in demographics. For Poland, as in much of the
Yeah,
Western
Poland
world.
is getting
By
older.
2050, our labor force will shrink by about 20%. So this is one large factor. Secondly, the average age of an employee is increasing, and it also matters for the productivity. While older workers can certainly work with modern technologies, they may need some more support than younger workers. So we need to invest more in policies that allow upskilling, reskilling, adjusting skills to this new technology.
Like my friend Phil says, we all have to get really good at prompting. With AI, yes, there will be, people that will lose their jobs. A lot of it, I think, sadly, but maybe it's not going to happen like from one moment to the next. What I do think is that if you don't acquire the skills, then also the situation with population decreasing, right? In Poland, that's one of the problems that we have these days. And young people don't want to have children as young as their parents did. Also, many of them don't want to have kids at all. To some degree, you cannot blame them. Look at the world that we're living in today. Look at the wars that are happening. Look at the economic issues. Like back then, 100,000 would get you a house. Now you need to 300,000 to get the same house.
How do you address that economically?
So we are running many programs that are supporting Polish families with some additional income. We have also started in vitro program. Already 13,000 children were
Yeah, because that's another thing. We're having more and more issues with procreation, things that used to be very natural. All the chemicals in the food and the stuff and even in the clothes is, I don't want to put a tinfoil hat on and now all of a sudden, have these conspiracy theories, but something is up.
Young Polish people because of that. But it's not enough. We need to create new incentives for people to be more willing to work, and our government is doing that.
Foreign investment is both an opportunity and a challenge for Poland. Many foreign investors have become more confident in the sustainability of the Poland story. But Domansky says the war in Ukraine has made some wary.
We see that some investors, especially from non-European investors, are a little more reluctant to invest in, especially...
Yeah, it's been quite a while, sadly, of this war ongoing, but I remember the first year or two, I had so many family members write to me saying, like, are you safe in Poland? Really? Oh my God. Mind you, we moved here like right kind of after the war started. So we were surely seen as crazy. Moving into Poland, let's move next door to where the war is.
Eastern parts of Poland recently. That being said, Poland will be the biggest, of course, apart from Ukraine, beneficiary of peace in Ukraine. So we want just and lasting peace for Ukraine. First of all, of course, we need to end this brutal Russian aggression. It would be also very good for Polish economy. Foreign direct investments were absolutely crucial in building strength of Polish economy. And this is it's a matter of facts. It's not an opinion. Because of the investments from other European...
Yeah, which is why so many people like to say that, European Union and shit on the European Union and this in Poland, we don't need European Union. Again, let's keep the politics out from this. But objectively speaking, Poland would not be Poland as it stands today without the European Union. It is what it is. Poland has benefited way more from being in the European Union than not being in the European Union. Point blank.
Children and adults, because this is what more successful Western economies are doing. And in Poland, so far, we relied much on competitive labor supply, on cheap labor costs. But if we want to reach higher level of wages, if we want to converge to not to 50% of German wages, but to 80 or 90%, we certainly need to invest more in education, in research and development.
Yeah,
And
I struggle with that myself. Maybe I am not that well versed in this topic, and I admit it. But I wonder, like, okay, Poland has such a strong economy, yet why are the salaries so low? Because they are lower, right? They are lower than you find in those counterparts. And hopefully this will go up, but I am afraid. I am afraid of the fact that maybe, at the end of the day, although I much more prefer to live in a capitalistic society than, let's say, a communistic society, capitalism has its major flaws. And one of those flaws is that it's all about the money, it's all about the cash, it's all about the capital. And the big corporations, the one that invest in the countries, they think about their growth. They think about making sure that the board of directors are getting their nice hefty bonuses. Yeah, they want to invest in Polish economy, but they also want to get a lot of things in return. And one of the things that they get in return is cheaper labor. Are they really excited to pay more to the employees? I don't know. If you know about this, please let me know in the comment section. What do you think? How can we raise the wages in Poland?
we are quite satisfied with our present growth trajectory. So we may not be well motivated to invest in research and development, to invest in new educational policies, because so far it's good. But in future, current growth model of Polish economy may not be sufficient.
As they say, getting to the top is one thing, staying there is another. Poland's growth is a success story, but its next test will be sustaining it.
A lot of the success of Poland so far has been, unfortunately, playing catch up. I think once you join, 20 biggest economies in the world, or 20 economies with the biggest GDP per capita, it really becomes about what is the limit of your growth and where do you need to seek it if playing catch up is not going to work out that well anymore.
But in the end, for Poland, as it is for many countries, the key is making sure that the best and the brightest can go home again and stay there.
I could have stayed in London, raised a fund there. I could have thought about maybe moving to the US and effectively starting over. But I decided to take a step, which I don't think is a step back, but step into something entirely new, but just in the place which I used to call home as a child. So it feels really special to be able to do that. It feels also really special because I don't feel like I have to give up on anything.
Oh yeah, very interesting, very interesting. It kind of ended a little abruptly. I wonder if they're gonna have a part 2 or something. I like what you said about playing catch up. I think Poland has been playing catch up ever since it released itself from communism. I also think that in true Polish fashion, Poland wants to ride its own lane. An example is the policies on immigration. It has caught up to some degree, but now it's paving its own path because it's very obvious that they're also powerful, mighty countries in the Western Europe world, they have failed in something as essential as keeping their society and their population safe, protected, and in priority. Great video. I like the fact that they used a lot of local things. They talked with the right authorities. They did not include some American specialists, trying to decipher what is Poland doing and what is happening. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know all your thoughts down below. If you have any other video that you want me to react to, I don't do these reaction videos too often, but if you want me to react to something, it doesn't have to be about finance or anything. It can be anything you want. Let me know, and I'll put it on the list of videos that I'm making for you guys. See you on another episode. Do widzenia.